There is one price in this country that millions of people read every single day from the road at 40 miles an hour. You will pass a station because it wants $3.59 a gallon and pull into one down the street asking $3.49. 10 cents a gallon. On a 15-gallon tank, that is $1.50. People change lanes for it. People make U-turns for it. No other price in retail gets watched like this. Nobody drives across town to save $1.50 on shampoo. And here's the part that makes no sense. The station that just won your business on that number barely makes money selling fuel. On a good day, the store keeps somewhere around 15 to 30 cents of gross margin per gallon before it pays for anything. Out of that, the credit card networks take a cut of the wholesale, not the margin, the wholesale. 2.5% of a $50 fill-up is about $1.25. That can be a third of the profit on the tank. Fuel is the reason you stop. It is not the reason the station exists. Start with a question almost nobody asks. Who actually owns the gas station you use? The logo on the sign says one of the biggest oil companies in the world. That company almost certainly does not own the building. Through the 2000s, the major oil companies sold off their retail stations almost entirely. Retail was a low-margin headache. Today, most stations in the United States are owned by people who own exactly one of them. A single site. A family business. The brand is a supply contract. The owner agrees to buy that company's fuel, fly its colors, and follow its rules. In exchange, the owner gets the sign. And the sign is what makes you turn in. The fuel arrives by tanker at a wholesale price that moves every single day, sometimes twice a day. The owner buys a full truckload, 8,000 gallons or so, and it sits underground until you show up. If wholesale prices drop overnight, that fuel underground is suddenly worth less than what was paid for it. That risk belongs to the owner. So where does your money actually go when you buy a gallon? The biggest single piece is the crude oil itself, usually somewhere around half the price at the pump. Refining takes the next slice. Turning crude into gasoline is a physical, expensive, capital-heavy process. Then transport. Pipelines, terminals, tanker trucks. Fuel moves a long way before it reaches your neighborhood. Then taxes. Federal, state, sometimes county and city. In some states, this is over 60 cents a gallon on its own. What is left for the station is the thin slice at the end. Cents, not dollars. And that slice is gross margin, not profit. Out of it comes electricity, insurance, repairs, wages, the card fees, everything. The pumps run all day. The canopy lights run all night. The underground tanks need testing and paperwork and inspections. A leaking tank is not a small problem. It is an environmental cleanup that can end a family business. So the operator sells fuel at a price the highway sets, on a product they cannot differentiate, at a margin they barely control. Why not just charge more? Because the price is on a 12-foot sign facing a road. Every competitor within 2 miles can read it from a moving car without getting out. Owners drive the neighborhood in the morning to check the competition. Some of them do it twice a day. Raise your price 2 cents above the station across the street, and your fuel volume can fall off a cliff by lunchtime. Lower it 2 cents and you get the volume, but you make almost nothing on it. This is the trap. The price has to stay competitive, and competitive means barely profitable. Unless the fuel is not really what you are selling. Walk 20 steps from the pump, and the entire economics of the business changes. Inside, fuel is a minority of the profit. Across the American convenience store industry, most of the gross profit comes from inside the store. The star of that store is not a snack. It is coffee. The ingredients in a large cup of drip coffee cost the store a small fraction of what it charges. Coffee is beans, water, and a cup. Fountain drinks are the same story. Syrup and carbonated water in a cup full of ice. Ice that you pay for by volume. That is why the cups keep getting bigger. A bigger cup is mostly just a bigger cup. Then hot food. Pizza, Taquitos, breakfast sandwiches. Rolling under heat lamps. High margin, made cheap, sold warm. Candy and salty snacks by the register. Small purchases, decided in 3 seconds, at a very healthy markup. And then the two products that dominate the shelves, but not the profit. Cigarettes. A huge share of what rings up at the register, at a thin markup, heavily taxed, and shrinking every year. Lottery tickets. The store keeps a small commission, often around 5 or 6 cents on the dollar. Neither one is a profit engine. Both are traffic engines. They pull a person through the door every single day. Because a person inside the store is worth far more than a car at the pump. Which explains something you have probably noticed. Gas station bathrooms got clean. For decades they were a punchline. Then a few chains worked out that the bathroom was a marketing budget, not a cost. A clean bathroom makes a family choose your exit instead of the next one. A family that stops buys drinks, snacks, and fuel. The chains that grew fastest built enormous stores with food counters, dozens of pumps, and bathrooms people talk about. They are not fuel companies with a store attached. They are restaurants and shops with fuel in the parking lot. Now think about the warehouse clubs. Their fuel is often the cheapest in town, and that is completely on purpose. They do not need the fuel to make money. They need the fuel to make the membership feel worth paying for. Cheap fuel pulls you into the parking lot. Then you walk inside and spend $200 on things you never planned to buy. The independent station across the road cannot play that game. No membership, no bulk buying power, no second business to subsidize the first. It has a store, a coffee machine, and whatever reason it can give you to stop. One more thing you have definitely felt. When crude oil prices jump, the sign changes by tomorrow morning. When crude prices fall, the sign comes down slowly, over days, sometimes weeks. Economists have a name for this. Rockets and feathers. Prices rise like a rocket and fall like a feather. Part of it is real. The fuel underground was bought at the old price, and the tank does not refill instantly. And part of it is simply that nobody complains when a price stops falling. They only complain when it rises. So the margin that vanishes during a price spike quietly comes back during the slow slide down. That is when the year gets saved. Now look forward. Every electric car on the road is a customer who never pulls into the forecourt again. The threat is not losing the fuel sale. The fuel sale was never the business. The threat is losing the reason to stop. Which is why stations are turning into food stops, delivery pickup points, car washes, and charging plazas with somewhere to sit. You never really bought gasoline from them. You bought a reason to pull off the road.